Hi Logic Language Learners and welcome to the second of our Halloween 2020 videos. So, we're going to be talking about fear. Gabby, what are you afraid of?
Delph.
Delph is the French, one of the French exams that you can sit. If you're interested in passing the Delph or Delph preparatory classes, do please get in touch with me. Somebody told Gabby that going into a Delph exam without the preparation exams is like, what was it you were told?
It's like trying to get onto an aeroplane, trying to board a plane without a ticket.
Without a ticket. So it's not just about your level of French. I spoke to a colleague at l'Institut Français who told me that even if you were first language French, you can still fail the DELF and the DELF if you hadn't had appropriate preparation, which is a bit naughty really, because it's meant to be an assessment of your language level. But there you go, it is what it is. And we can get over anything in life if we freaking try hard enough. Good. So we're talking about fear, things you're afraid of. So let's just talk about some common patterns in fear. All right. So the first thing for fear, if I'm really honest, is the most common phrasal verb. So Gabby, how would you say I'm afraid? You say j'ai peur. J'ai peur. Well done. All right. So j'ai peur is the most common phrasal verb. So rather than to fear. So the first thing we need to be very mindful of with phrasal verbs is it a phrasal verb in English? Is it a phrasal verb in French? A phrasal verb being lots of words coming together to mean something. So for example, I am scared of. Adjectively, we're saying I am, adjective scared of. Okay? So whereas in French we say I have fear of. Now you might go, this pattern's ever so odd from have to be to have. But if you look at all the expressions where you use have, so I am hot. Wow, why thank you. J'ai chaud. A little bit of aftershave. J'ai chaud. Gabby, how do you say I'm hungry? J'ai faim. I'm thirsty. J'ai soif. Lovely. I want to. J'ai envie. Lovely. I'm embarrassed. J'ai That's it. J'ai honte. Okay. I know that because I'm more embarrassed of Gabby than she is of me. But like. But she's got undressed. No, I'm not at all. I'm incredibly proud. So the fact is, most of the time when you're using expressions, even age, let's lie, j'ai 30 ans. So the fact is, most of the time that you're using avoir in a phrasal verb is because what follows is actually a noun. So I have shame, I have fear, I have envy, desire, I have thirst, I have hunger. And though I need, j'ai besoin. Great. So besoin and also the preposition to afterwards. So a lot of the time this means that the word that you're using after the avoir is a bloody noun. It's a thing, okay? Whereas we'd say I'm hungry, adjective, and go, well, why are we saying I have? It's because of this have to be to have swap. So the main verb then is j'ai peur. It's going to be j'ai peur plus de. And that can be going into a noun, or that can be going into a verb. So Gabby, how can you say I'm scared of speaking? J'ai peur de...
J'ai peur de parler.
Great. J'ai peur de parler. If we said I'm scared, like any de expression, if we had de going into a verb which started with an open mouth, Gabby, how would you say I'm scared of hearing something? J'ai peur
d'entendre.
Beautifully linked. J'ai peur d'entendre quelque chose, okay? Well, then don't listen in. Lovely. We can't help it if I love making you so terribly loud. So the fact is, j'ai peur d'entendre quelque chose. So j'ai peur can also then go into a noun. Okay, so how do you say I'm scared of him? Anybody that's done a logic language learning live class would say, I'm scared of him. J'ai peur de lui.
De lui.
That's it. Or j'ai peur de Luc. I'm scared of... whatever, plural thing. J'ai peur des. I'm scared of the boys over there when you're little. J'ai peur des garçons. So j'ai peur de is our main way of saying be afraid of. Okay? Pause. J'ai peur de, like a lot of expressions in French, can then come off on a side note and come out with j'ai peur que. So if I said Luc is late, how can you say in basic normal French, Luc is late? Luc est en retard. That's it. If I said I'm scared that Luke is late, fear is one of our subjunctive, want, need, doubt, fear, and personal, emotional, neutral, emotional. So fear expressions give me the subjunctive. If you have a que in the middle. So could you say for me, I'm scared that Luke is late with the subjunctive, j'ai peur
que
Luc
soit
en retard. Lovely. Now, great. So the fact is, that's something to be mindful of with peur, okay? Side note, peur and the verb I'm about to talk about, craindre. Well, let's talk about craindre first. No, let's get this in first. There's something called the ne expletive, which has got nothing to do with expletives like naughty swear words, which, as you know, I'm very fond of. So the ne expletive is when we have a ne with no pas. There is a ne with no pas in other situations in French. That's called the ne littéraire. So you will often see that, for example, with verbs like pouvoir, where you don't then have a pas. I'm not talking either about when you have ne and then another word like ne jamais, ne rien, ne plus. I'm on about when you have a random ass ne sitting in your sentence and you think, why is that there? So you will pop this will pop up in expressions like, so before he leaves, avant qu'il parte, or formerly avant qu'il ne parte. So strictly speaking, really, fear expressions are meant to have the ne expletive. So j'ai peur qu'il ne vienne, I'm scared that he's coming. Rather than I'm scared he's not coming, okay, there'd still be a ne there. And likewise with craindre. But for most people and for anybody doing delf, that's not really that urgent for you to be able to use that, but just be aware of it. So I've done a video on the ne expletive. If you just type expletive or ne, N-E, into my channel, that will come up. So the next verb to be afraid of is craindre, which is basically a whole verb, not phrasal, because it's one verb. It's going to work in the same way. It's going to give us a fear. Okay, so if you said, for example, craindre, it is a verb which ends in ndre and before it has two vowels. So way back in sort of April, May, I did a video in the Bluebells. It's all very beautiful. And I talked about verbs which end in A-I-N-D-R-E. Gabby, what's the verb to complain?
Se plaindre.
Lovely. What's the verb to join?
Rejoindre.
Lovely. Or joindre. What's the verb to paint?
Peindre.
That's lovely. Okay. So the fact is, a lot of those verbs are a little bit interesting because they have a soft joint, pam, pam, pam. Éteindre to switch off. Éteint. This is Gabby's switch off button. Éteint. Okay, this is her turn on button. There you go. So to switch off, éteindre, okay? Gabby can be turned on that easily. So basically, they've cancelled the Delph.
Oh, yay.
So the fact is, very quickly, éteindre is, or any of these trois words are very capable of, you can conjugate them. You've just got to remember it's going to go gn, gne, on the bottom three. So, craint, craignant, craignez. Okay, so that is something you need to remember. So side note, go and look at the NDRE videos. Okay, good. So moving down, okay, my little notes. Okay, so I'm scared that, j'ai peur que, je crains que, same crap coming out of it. So, for example, I'm scared he has had an accident. J'ai peur qu'il ait eu un accident. Je crains qu'il ait eu un accident. Okay, it's going to be the same creator of the subjunctive, and also, strictly speaking, should have that ne as well. Then we go on to the nouns for fear. So you've got la peur. A lot of these are feminine, which is very easy to remember because really, when shit hits the fan, it's women you need to be afraid of. So basically, la peur. Yeah, so peur, as I've said, is a noun. How do we know it's a noun? Because it comes in a verb with j'ai, so have something. So une peur. Yeah, so the parents' fear, you know, la peur des parents. Okay, angoisse, very similar to the word anguish in English, and that's also a verb. Quelque chose m'angoisse, something, you know, anguishes me. Not really what we say in English, but it causes that. We then come on to the concepts of frighten and scare. So the difference with I'm afraid is that I have fear of something else. If something frightens me, this thing, this very kitsch little pencil case, frightens me, okay? Not mine. So, lovely. So the main verb, if I'm bloody honest, to frighten is faire peur à quelqu'un. So ça me fait peur. So Gabby, if I said ça me fait peur, how would I say that scares you? Ça te fait peur. Yeah, ça te fait peur. So if I said, oh God, Gabby, you startled me, you frightened me. Tu m'as fait peur. Say it to me, Gabby, tu m'as fait peur.
Tu m'as fait peur.
Okay, great. So that's one of the main ways of saying frighten. We do also have a verb which is effrayer, which is linked to where we get afraid from in English, effrayer. Okay, and we also have épouvanter, which is more commonly seen in épouvantable. C'est épouvantable. It's frightening. It's horrible. It's a scary result. Or an épouvantail, which is a scarecrow in a field. Yeah, meant to scare, the birds away. Okay, lovely. So faire peur à. So if it's faire peur à somebody, Gabby, is that direct or indirect if there's an à there? If it's faire peur à quelqu'un, direct or indirect?
Indirect.
Lovely. So am I going to say that scares him? Ça lui fait peur or ça le fait peur if it's indirect?
Louis.
Ça lui fait peur. Great, great, great. So that's frightened. You scared him. Tu lui as fait peur. Go and say sorry, Gabby. You frightened him. Put your knickers back on, for heaven's sake. It's a public place. Okay? So, lovely. We've got a peur, a frayeur. It's more like a sudden moment, like a coup de, a sudden little, oh, that gave you a little scare, didn't it? In frayeur. But mainly, the main thing would just be like faire peur. Okay? Frayeur would be the sensation, the physical sensation. Like I said, like a little, oh, that gave you the jitters, that gave you a kind of thing. But not a massive commonly thing. Okay, working my way through my notes. Anything else you guys need to particularly know? A person can be scared of stuff a lot of the time. Craintif, craintive. So it's sort of like if you've got a child that's craintive, then they're a little bit like, go on, don't be so scared. Yeah. Frightening stories, effrayant. So scaring. Yes, effrayé, effrayant, effrayante. Okay. It was frightening, c'était effrayant, or ça m'a fait peur. Yeah, most of the time it just comes back to peur. What else have we got? A person can s'effrayer. So again, if you say I'm bored, je m'ennuie, I'm boring myself, it's not me that's boring myself, it's just sort of saying I'm getting to myself into the state of boredom. The same with fear. So if you say someone gets worked up easily, quelqu'un s'effraie facilement, then they're not it's not like their own reflection scared them, although my own reflection does currently scares me, definitely since March. But the fact is, so il s'effraie facilement. Okay. And when I was making the notes for this video, I noticed that the word that they're using increasingly, if for anything negative, is Karen, because of the whole meme of Karen, mad Karen on a run kind of thing. Karen, good. All I'd also point out with effrayer is, Gabby, how do we spell the verb effrayer? E-F-F-R-A-Y. And what do we do spelling-wise, or were we meant to do before the recent spelling changes, with Y-E-R? So what's the verb to try, Gabby? S-A-E. Good. What's the verb to clean? Nettoyer. Do you know what cleaning means?
No.
Are you fucking sure? No. Yeah.
I need a woman.
You need a man. Yeah. Let's not be gender. So basically, exactly. So effrayer, nettoyer. What do we do spelling-wise with these verbs? So Y-E-R verbs traditionally swap the Y for an I. So essayer, E-S-S-A-I-E. Nettoyer, N-E-T-T-O-I-E. O-I-E-S. O-I, It is now acceptable, since recent spelling changes allowed by l'Académie Française, which were just stupid. Really, I felt betrayed. Trahi. But you can now spell them normally, but it's much classier to write. So effrayer, ça m'effraie, that frightens me, E-F-F-R-A-I-E. All right? Good. So things to mainly remember then. I'm scared of, j'ai peur de, j'ai peur que. Depends whether you're going into a thing, a verb, or someone else doing something. So I'm scared he's doing it without me. J'ai peur qu'il le fasse sans moi. I'm scared of doing it. J'ai peur de le. I'm scared of doing it. J'ai peur de. I'm scared of doing it. J'ai peur de le.
Sorry.
What's the verb to do?
Faire.
Lovely. What's I'm scared of doing? J'ai peur de.
J'ai peur de le faire.
That's it. J'ai peur de le faire. Good. Like with all of the expressions, notice de and le do not become du there because the le does not mean the. So I'm scared of doing it. J'ai peur de le faire. I was never scared of doing it. I just now can't find anyone to do it with. Lovely. So have a happy Halloween. Stay safe. Wash your hands if you're touching people's doorknobs. And I will speak to you soon. Happy Halloween, Gabby.
Happy Halloween, Gabby.
All right. Bye bye.